Hey, welcome. This is a special edition of the Martin Houston Show. It's a presentation of the battle for the standard. There's been a lot of conversation over the past week or so about, well, probably longer than a week or so, about this particular game, Alabama versus Georgia. And to record this segment, I figured I'd come on out to Bryant-Denny Stadium, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and record this. There's been a lot of conversation regarding whether or not this game is more pressure for Kirby Smart or for Kalen DeBoer. And I think it's deeper than that. I talked a little bit about it this morning on my show with Xavier, that I think this game is so much more than just these two coaches. I think this is a dueling style for old school versus new school, offense versus defense. Even heard Saban on game day make the statement about how you used to hold people to 8 to 10 points, and now if you hold someone to 20 points, you're still playing a good game. And so Kirby still has a little bit of that Nick Saban in him. Will it just continue the dominance of college football? Will that continue that style of football? Because no matter how much football has changed, it's still been won the same way by the old guard, Nick Saban, for the most part, dominating. And when he wasn't dominating, you had LSU getting the national championship with Orgeron, which is defensive guy. And then you've, of course, had Georgia get a couple. And you throw Clemson in there. Even though they had elite quarterback play, they still had great defenses on those championships that they won. Can an offensive-led team take the reins and become the standard for college football? So that's one of the conversations that will be decided, or at least there'll be a vote made tomorrow night at Bryant-Denny Stadium on whether or not the offensive-led team can take on a defensive-minded coach with superior talent, with a good quarterback, but more of a defensive-minded coach and system. We'll see. We'll see if that's able to take. That's one of them. But the other direct standard is it Alabama or Georgia? Are they the standard for college football? Because everybody has jumped on the Kirby Smart wagon and said that Kirby Smart in Georgia is the standard for college football. Well, is that really the case? Because in their dominance, it's bookended by Alabama. Alabama beat them in the SEC championship game. And then, of course, Georgia got them in the national championship game. And then they went on to win a whole bunch of games until they met Alabama again. So on the field, 2 of the last 3 times that these two teams have played, it's been for championship games. All 3 times have been for championship games. 2 SEC champions and 1 national championship. And Georgia got the natty. Kudos to them. But Alabama bookended them with 2 SEC champions. So is Georgia really the standard for college football? It'll be decided, I think, tomorrow night, at least for a little while, when we look at this game and what happens there. So I'm thinking that if we're able to come out, Alabama's able to come out and have a big-time offensive explosion against Georgia, who has not given up a touchdown in 3 games, what does that say about Kalen DeBoer, the Alabama standard? You hear Womack talk about the Bama standard. So if the Bama standard is able to hold down Georgia on defense, have an explosion on offense, does Alabama become the new back to the future de facto standard of college football? And does that catapult Kalen DeBoer to the front of the class? I think there's so much on the line. I think all the pressure is on Georgia as they roll into Bryant-Denny, and I cannot wait to see what happens. I think, without a doubt, you're going to see an offensive coach, DeBoer, taking on a defensive-minded coach, Kirby. You have a new age guy versus an old age guy. You have Alabama, who has been the king of college football for the last 15 plus years. And then you have Georgia, who's trying to dethrone them. It'll be settled tomorrow night on the field. I say Alabama gets the job done, and Kalen DeBoer becomes the new